Yo, 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 yo. Go, Pack, go, baby. You know what time it is. We are here. We are talking about the Packers. This is the Pack Attack. I'm your host, IDP Iggy Man, an NFL owner. As I say, I always show it right there. Proud to be an NFL owner. You can see it on the background. I'm an owner. We're going to use we. Welcome to Pack Attack. If this is your first time tuning in, this is everything Packers. We look at betting. We look at fantasy. We look at just being a fan. We look at being an owner. We look at all those things. This is the Packers Corner, man. You got Vince over there. You got the relax. Got the autograph Brett Favre. Got the Super Bowl from 31. We got cards galore. I love this show, man. I love breaking down film. What I realized is I love film so much, but I can't watch everybody, so I focused on just my Packers this year. I watch film right before I go on the show every Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern. That is, 8 o'clock on the West Coast. Wake up and join with me. If you're a Packers fan, nothing better to do to talk about. All right, let's know what. Let's get to it, baby. Looking down at the videos, I went back and watched Packers versus Kansas City. Pretty good game, honestly. Honored the great Lynn Dawson. I thought that was very cool of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid to allow them to do that. Lynn Dawson's such a great figure, man. Like I said, I remember watching him Inside the NFL really before I knew that he was a Super Bowl player. That's how long I've been ingrained in football and watching it. So I just thought that was really cool to give it a note. Rodgers on special teams, I noticed that he's probably going to be handling a lot of the punt. So if you're in a fantasy team that rewards special teams yardage, which you should be, why would you not want yards for your kick returners to help these wide receiver 3s and 4s out? It's ridiculous to me that somebody doesn't want that. But I've been sticking it with the Packers. Rodgers looks good. They're going to try to use him in sweeps. They're going to try to use him in open field. He's got such quickness. They're also going to be utilizing him in special teams. Tyler Goodson got dropped. He's no longer a Packer. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to sign him to the practice squad because they only have 2 active running backs on the roster as of right now. So no team's going to do that really too much. Last time they did that, they went 1 week. Aaron Jones was suspended 1 week. I think it was Ryan Grant. I can't remember exactly who the other person was off the top of my head. But you just can't do that in the NFL. Everybody's like, running backs get injured. So I fully expect Tyler Goodson to be put on the practice squad, maybe lifted up. He looked good to me. He's got good bursts. He's really good in the open field. Kind of his vision's not all there as far as NFL speed probably. I didn't see him really block a whole bunch, but early in the game, they were just looking at Goodson. And they had to trim it down. They went elsewhere with it. They have 7 wide receivers. Could be part of the reason they only have 2 running backs. They got 4 tight ends on roster, I think. That could be part of the reason as well. But Tyler Goodson looks good to me. He looks the running back out of Iowa, I believe 5th round selection. He looks good to me. And I think if the plan is to move off from Aaron Jones after this year when his contract gets really expensive, that's a really good possibility. Okay. I think Tyler Goodson looked great out there. It was a quick 3 and out, though. They gave him to Tyler Goodson all drive. Jordan Love, the offensive line Kansas City ran their first team defense. The offensive line looked like it had a lot of trouble dealing with them. Jordan Love didn't have any room to pass, time to pass, scrambling. He looked very unsettled during those first couple series. In the second series, though, so it's unsettled. Line looking sloppy, Kansas City, and then we go to the defense. Walker is he's attacking, but he's not attacking at the line of scrimmage sometimes. He's getting these blocks and these running backs, sometimes 3 or 4, but he does have an excellent pursuit. It was really great to see Quay Walker out there. He's going to be a starting linebacker. He's going to have to be utilized. And I think he's got the speed. I want him to come up and play that line. He was playing against Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones, he tackled him a few times. And the thing is, I think Ronald Jones was playing for a roster spot, right? So having said that, it's like he was meeting Ronald Jones at about 4 or 5 yards downfield and just getting absolutely lit up, dude. Just he was hitting him and then getting carried a yard or 2, but Ronald Jones is a big boy, all right? Special teams is not looking great still. There's a lot of bad coverages. They're not covering the gaps well. I think this is the special teams unit is going to be improving. It was definitely the fault of our team last year. It was the kink, and people exposed that kink, and they still don't look good. Okay, they're going to have to fill it, but I think once they get down to the 53 roster, figure out who's going to be on the kick team, on the cover team, on the punt team, and all that, they'll have a better chance of understanding and hopefully looking better. All right, moving into the third line, third drive, Goodson is heavily involved. They wanted to get a look at him. Winfrey caught a catch. Dobbs caught a 5-step drop from Jordan Love. Looked beautiful, man. I think Dobbs is the truth. I think he's going to have a relevant fantasy year this year. We'll get into that later, but he doesn't even need a lot of space. He's oftentimes catching contested balls, and I've seen he creates just that minimal space to help the quarterback, and then he goes out and plucks the ball. He's a great wide receiver. I think it's a great find for the Packers later in the draft. But Winfrey looked good. They released him. Then they ran Amari on a sweep. Love had a bad throw. Goodson, and then they gave the ball to Goodson. He did a spin move. He looked great in space, and he scored the touchdown. So that's why I said I think he's going to be on the practice squad. I don't think they're going to let Goodson go. He looks great to me. He looks like one of the best running backs coming out of the draft, even though he didn't make the 53-team roster, in my opinion. Like I said, Amari's been utilized in several ways, Amari Rodgers, and I think that he's going to continue to be utilized in a lot of ways. I think he's going to be like their gadget plays in his second year. Like I said, they brought Randall Cobb in to help him. Randall Cobb's father was his coach at Kentucky. I think he was at Kentucky, or may have been another school. I think they're going to start using him like this. It's the new age era. I think a smaller Debo. I think a smaller Brandon Ayuk. I think this is how he's going to be utilized in this kind of system the same way. All right. Penalties, man. Oh my gosh! On the fourth drive, so the Packers scored on the third drive. On the fourth drive, they got inside the freaking 5-yard line. I should have got the receiver's name. He made a great move. He lunged. They called him down. I kind of think he was in. That's why you should take a closer look at some of those real close goal line plays. They ended up getting an offside, false start, illegal formation, and then a hands to the face. I mean, my God, it's 7-10 right before halftime. You got to punch those in. Sloppy. Guaranteed that was probably, third and fourth stringers in at this point on the fourth drive. But still, Matt LaFleur's got to get rid of those. As a Packer fan, I've seen us give up so many costly penalties in the red zone and not be able to stop people on third down on the defensive side of the ball. Matt LaFleur is going to have to get better at those statistics. And that's what I saw. I mean, you just don't blow opportunities from the 1 yard line. My God, they didn't get under center. I don't know if that's something else Matt LaFleur is going to do. He's not going to be under center much. And if he's not, that's fine. But in the 1 yard line, my God, go under center, go on a quick snap, hand that ball to your freaking running back and punch it in the end zone. They didn't do that. I don't know if they were trying to look for something. Fourth drive ended in a field goal. 3 penalties inside the 5 yard line. That's inexcusable. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care if you're in 7th or 8th grade. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't make those mental errors when you're that close to the end zone. We got to stop that. It kind of starts going down after that. They kept Love in, all the way through the third quarter of this matchup. And Barnes looked good defensively. He was making plays, special teams. He was making teams, as a linebacker. He was attacking the line of scrimmage. He's a veteran, so he knows what he's doing. But he looked really good out there. I just wanted to highlight Barnes. Once Love had a little bit more time in the second half. He looked a little bit more comfortable. He was firing a lot better. His accuracy improved a little bit. There's still some things, he just doesn't look good. I was really high on Love in the draft. I didn't want him to go to Green Bay, but he did. And he needs some improvement. I knew he was always going to be a project, but we're hoping that he gets there as a decent backup serviceable backup and maybe the heir to Rodgers after a couple of years, right? All right. So let's take a look at the 53-man roster. Like I said, they did cut it down. 2 offensive, Rodgers, Jordan Love, a lot more common these days to only have 2 QBs on the starting roster. Then Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, they released Taylor, they released Goodson, they released Williams, and Kylan Hill's on the PUP. Wide receivers, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, Amari Rodgers, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Samori Toure, and I'm happy for him right there. On the tight end, Mercedes Lewis, of course, starting tight end. Robert Tonyan, Joshua DeGuardo. DeGuardo was getting blown back on some of his blocks. I didn't like seeing that. I don't know what's up with that. We'll take a look. Tyler Davis looked good. He was a great blocking tight end. We don't really have an elite pass catcher right there as a tight end, but we have 4 amazing blockers. On the offensive line, let's take a look. David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, John Runyon, Josh Myers, Royce Newman, Yosh Nijman, Jake Hansen, Zach Tom, Sean Rayan, Rasheed Walker. They cut Caleb Jones, Michael Menard. On the defensive line, guys, this is probably some of the best defensive line in the NFL. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being a homer. You go find me a more complete defensive line than this. Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, my God, very underrated, holds the edge well and still gets sack pressure. Jaron Reed, we picked up. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. We got him from Kansas City, baby. I think he's going to clog that middle quite well. Then TJ Slinton, then a first-round pick, Devontae White, baby. And let's not forget about Jonathan Ford holding it down. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive linemen holding it down in this 3-4 kind of style defense. I think it's the strength of our defense. And if you have a great defensive line, it's just like having a great offensive line. You're going to control the line. You're going to control a lot of battles. It's going to be difficult to run. And I really don't think there's a better defensive line than what we have right now at the Green Bay Packers. I stand on that. 5 offensive linebackers. I think we have great strength at the starters. Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary. Man, if we lose one of those, one of these guys is going to have to step up. Tapia Jalaya. Oh, man, I'm sorry I butchered your name, dude. Kingsley Ingabar and Jonathan Garvin, man. So it drops off pretty bad after our starters. I think we may have some of the 2 best offensive, outside linebackers in the NFL. But if Gary and Smith, man, we got to hope they stay healthy because it drops off pretty bad right there. Inside linebackers, we got 4. The drop Ty Sumners. They've had him on the roster for quite a while. Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, Chris Barnes, and Isaiah McDuffie. All 4 of those have looked great. I think Campbell's a perennial Pro Bowler. So for whatever it's worth, I think Quay Walker, he might make some mistakes. I think Barnes is going to be rotating in with him. But I do like our inside linebacker core. You just got to stay healthy. And then, of course, the cornerbacks, another strength of ours. Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, and Rasul Douglas. Of course, holding down all 3 of the starters. Kasim Nixon, probably going to see coming in a lot of nickel packages. Nixon, I've been seeing him a lot. And then Shamir Jean-Charles. Look for him to, be back to that special teams guy. Good depth, though. I like our cornerbacks. And then safeties come on with it, man. Adrian Smash Amos, Darnell Savage bringing the big hits in. Then we got Darlene Levitt, Tariq Carpenter, Micah Abernathy. Once again, 2 great starters on the safety end. I think Green Bay has the most complete defense in the NFL. There's not really any gaps, maybe not the best depth, but there's really anybody that's going to be able to compare with them from the defensive standpoint. And that's why I said they're going to finish as the defense one, man. Hung Leroy, you see right there, Reggie White. We got the pieces to do what we need to do to get a number 1 defense. You got to have an all-time guy like this. I think Rashawn Gary is an all-time guy. I think Preston Smith is an elite pass rusher. I think he's one of the best in the NFL as well. And then we got the safeties to do it. Like, we need the Leroy Butler. We got Adrian Amos. We got Darnell Savage. We got arguably the best cornerback in the league. I think he is. And Jair Alexander. And I told you about the defensive line. Dean Lowry, Kenny Clark, Wynn. We got a great defensive line front. They're going to be good. There's no holes. There's great depth. They're going to rotate those guys in and out. It's going to be amazing. From a fantasy football perspective, bringing it back, obviously I think you should get Rodgers. He's going about as the 100th player right now. He's constantly disrespected. He's disrespected in fantasy. He's disrespected in real life. And all he does is win MVPs and take his team on great drives and take care of the football. So if you want Aaron Rodgers, go get him. I think he's there. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, needless to say, they're both going in the top 50. I've been getting Aaron Jones lately in the second round. I've been getting some shares of A.J. Dillon. Sometimes he goes early. Sometimes he falls back a little bit. If he's there at the right price, I take him, Like I said, I do expect Tyler Goodson to be on that practice squad, but with only two running backs, they're probably going to try to keep him fresh. So either one of those are great to have. The wide receiver room is kind of a big question mark for everybody. People don't know where to go. I think Lazard's a stud if you can get him at 66. Sammy Watkins is going around 160, 170. I've been loaded. I have so many shares of Sammy Watkins. It's ridiculous. If nothing else, he's going to do what he always does and have a great week one and then start tapering off. But I'm hoping he has a great year. I mean, people forget he was drafted as like a Jerry Rice type wide receiver. People gave up a lot. The Buffalo Bills gave up a lot to draft Sammy Watkins. And some people say he hasn't delivered up to it. I think he did all right with Kansas City, but he's out to prove it this year, and I like him. Take a flyer on him if you're kind of weak at wide receivers late in your draft. Take a flyer on Watkins. I think he's worth it. Amari Rodgers, I think, is going to be utilized in so many ways. You can grab him with the last pick of just about every draft. If you if you don't load up on Packers early and you want one late, I think Amari Rodgers is worth a great look. I'm about to just keep grabbing him in all my best balls. Week 14 bye can come back and have a great playoff week for you. So take a look at that. Christian Watson's, he's built up to be the guy. He hasn't had the camp. He had to have surgery. I think they're going to integrate him kind of slowly. I don't expect a very good first half of the season for Christian Watson. So just let people drop him. And then as you progress, go pick him up. Romeo Doubs is the man. All right. He's going to come in and have a great rookie year. think Aaron Rodgers wants to develop a relationship with him. Once they told me about his work ethic and how he studied, started looking back. I looked just a little bit of his film in college. He just didn't have the quarterback. That people forget. As somebody that all district guy, I didn't have a great quarterback per se. So you had to work hard and you had to get this recognition basically without the help of the the guy that's got to do the other 50% of it. I think Romeo Dobbs could be Rookie of the Year candidate, and I'm not exaggerating. Tight ends, you're not going to look at any of those for fantasy perspectives. The defensive side of the ball, if you're in a big sack league, you definitely want Gary. You definitely want Smith. Those guys, I expect over 20 sacks from those two combined. I'm not blowing smoke up your booty. I think they could get 25 pretty easy if you're in a big sack league. You want Devondre Campbell basically in all formats. Any and all formats, you're going to want Devondre Campbell. Quay Walker, I think it's going to be worth a good look. If I can get him pretty late in most IDP drafts, if that's the case, take a look at it and get what you want. On this DB end, they're not going to throw to Jair Alexander. Not many people do. So that's going to leave more opportunities for Rasul Douglas and Eric Stokes to make plays. They're going to have more opportunities for passes defended if you're in a league that rewards well for that. And they're going to get more opportunities for tackles because any quarterback with half a brain just doesn't really throw to Jair Alexander because he's going to make you look foolish. All right, he's going to make you pay for that. All right, that's just the bottom line. Adrian Amos, man, he's always coming up in the box. Darnell's playing a little higher. If you're in a good tackle league, go get Amos. Doesn't have just reliable weeks, but his floor is really good. And then every once in a while, he just goes off for a ceiling, like gets a sack, gets a fumble recovery, gets a pick, gets a pass defended. Adrian Amos is one of the best, most underrated safeties in the NFL. I've watched him. I particularly cue in on him because of how the Packers use him. And I can kind of tell a little bit about where they line him up, what the next package is going to be because I watched that much Packers film. And I love him, man. I love him. Mason Crosby, if you want to flyer on a kicker really late, he had such a bad year last year. He's going into his 240th consecutive start or something for the Green Bay. He's the GOAT. He's one of the Green Bay GOATs, man. Take a flyer on it. There's a lot better kickers on there, but if you just want to be a homer and grab somebody, don't be afraid to go do that, all right? Taking a look right now, like I said, I love Green Bay, man. We're going to be looking at bets as the season goes along. We're going to be looking at the film just like I did, tell you what I thought I saw that I liked. Go look at the film for the teams that they're playing next week, and we're going to break down that as well, what I think they should do. And then I'll be posting bets live. There's not too many betting lines that come out on a Wednesday, but we'll always look at the money line spread over under, okay? And if I get any kind of props, if I can get any kind of thing going, we'll look at that as well. But that's the format for the show going forward. Let's take a look at the schedule. We're going to wrap it up with that. Beware, I always think Green Bay can go 17-0. I'm an owner. I'm an NFL owner, man. So I've got to believe in my team. I mean, I don't think there's any owner that goes into a week thinking, well, we're going to lose this week. Maybe they do subconsciously, but that's not the mantra of confidence. That's not the mantra of belief. That's not the mantra of thinking that your team is the best, my team is the best, our team's the best. So let's take a look at it real quick. Break it down real quick for you. We got the schedule right there. We're past the preseason games. Not a bad display. Opening week 1 at Minnesota. Man, we got at Minnesota, we got at Chicago, or we got at Minnesota, Chicago, and at Tampa Bay to open it up. That is a crazy week 3 schedule. At least we're getting Tampa Bay a little later. Maybe it won't be 95 degrees at kickoff time there in the afternoon. Pretty much the hottest time of the day, 3:25. That's going to be rough. But looking at Minnesota, man, I do not know who the Vikings are. That's the biggest question mark to me of the year. Are they going to come out and just secure this? Are they going to try to attempt to throw on this good secondary? Is Dalvin Cook going to be utilized more? Is their defense that's just completely got an uplift and people are healthier? Are they going to be great? Man, I just don't know what to expect about this game in the 3:25 slot. And the Packers, Rodgers talks about a lot. He loves playing in the early slot, but his first 5 games aren't at 12 o'clock at the Central Time Zone. So let's take a look. Minnesota, I say we're going to win. That's going to be a close game. We'll break down the spread. We'll break down the over/under. Next week, but that's going to be a close game. And of course, any close game, I'm tilting to the Packers, baby. So we're 1-0. Chicago at home, that should be a gimme. NBC Sunday night game. Gotta love that. We get Green Bay second week Sunday night. I love it. Then we get at Tampa Bay week 3, marquee game. They're just going to destroy them at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay won't be in any kind of rhythm yet in week 3. Tampa Bay's in trouble. They should make the playoffs because it's Tom Brady. But you just never know. You just never know. Then week 4, we got another afternoon game, CBS game, home against the Patriots, playing the AFC East this year. They should win that one pretty easily. The Patriots, I don't know what their offense is going to look like, but I still have faith in that defense. It should be a low-scoring game. Patriots versus Packers has always been pretty good throughout the season. We only get it about once every 4 years. So for what it's worth, I think it's really going to be a good game, and the Packers are going to win. And then we got the London game. Shout out to all my UK Packers fans, man. I love the UK crowd. I interact with them probably more than anybody. And I'm so pumped. I know people going to this game. They're going to the Giants game at London. I know Aaron Rodgers is happy about this game, and he's going to put on a show for all you guys, dude. He is going to put on a freaking show, dude. That's just the nature of the beast, man. So I'm very much looking forward for that. So as of right now, we're sitting at 5-0. That's how I look at it. And then that's a Sunday game. Then we get another Sunday game coming back. They got to come all the way back home and play the Jets. So New York, right there on you. They should crush the Jets. I don't expect the Jets to be good offensively or defensively. That should be a good win. So at 6 games in, we're at 6-0. We're going to the Washington Commanders, another 1 o'clock game. So back-to-back 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's 12 o'clock Central time for all the Packers fans. At Washington Commanders, I think that should be a pretty good victory. I don't think the Commanders I don't think Jack Del Rio is handling his defensive personnel that well. Let's say that. Ron Rivera, I think Carson Wentz could be good. I think it's a close game, but I think the Packers win on that 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock Eastern time zone. At Buffalo Bills, Sunday night game, October 30th, AFC East match, NBC. Another primetime game for, our guy right there, Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. Talking about maybe the best 2 quarterbacks in each conference, dueling it out. Week 8 could be a loss. I mean, we're playing at Buffalo. Orchard Park, Buffalo's going to be coming off a bye week that week. Woo! That's a rough one. Very possible loss, but you know me, I'm going to say we're going to win that one. Yeah, that's going to be a really tough matchup. Buffalo coming off a bye, 2 weeks to prepare. Green Bay coming in a real brutal part of the schedule. Then they have at Detroit Lions. If you remember, that was a loss last year. That's a division game. That's going to be tough. The Lions are kind of a big anomaly to me. Hard knocks effect. People think they're going to be really good. They could be. It's a division game, but you know me, I'm tilting towards the win. And then Mike McCarthy coming back on the afternoon game slot. Another afternoon game slot. Green Bay does not have very many early games this season. It's going to be a lot of afternoon games. It's going to be a lot of evening games. That's just the nature of the beast. We got a London game. So, yeah, it's they have more Sunday night. They have more night games than they do 12 p.m. games. Think about that. Green Bay has more night games than they have Sunday 12 o'clock start time games. All right, keep that in mind. At Dallas Cowboys, Dallas coming to Green Bay. Mike McCarthy's return to Lambeau Field. I like Mike. People like to give him a bad rap. Maybe he wasn't the best coach. Maybe he kind of got complacent towards the end. But he's a Super Bowl winning coach, and they don't make too many of those. Specifically in Green Bay, there's only been 3 of those. Okay, so I've always will respect Mike McCarthy. I always thank him for bringing me a Super Bowl in my college years. Made it a lot of fun, man. But we're going to crush Dallas. Moving on to Week 11, Tennessee Titans, another marquee Thursday night game, November 17th. So they got to play Dallas, and then in 4 days they got to play Tennessee right after that. That's going to be a physical team coming to Green Bay on short weeks and rest. Tennessee has a Week 6 bye, so they're not getting any better with that either. Man, that's going to be a battle. Prime dime. Make sure you catch that out. When I'm shooting every Thursday, Prime Video is going to be prime dime here with your boy Smoking, watching the game. If you don't have Prime, don't worry. Just come in with me. We'll be watching every Thursday. That game's going to be special for us at Tennessee, holding it down. And then Sunday, they come back 10 days later, Philadelphia at Philadelphia, another NBC night game. Just a marquee game, man. I think Philadelphia's going to be good. I think they're going to be definitely in rhythm come Week 12. That's going to be a tough game. Of course, I got Green Bay winning it, but it's going to be close. Then we go back Sunday, December 4th, finally getting another 1 o'clock game at Chicago, going into the bye week, a must win. We own you. We still own you, Chicago. Take it. Then we get our much needed bye finally coming Week 14. I kind of like a late bye. Sometimes I think bye weeks happen when you need them. If you played football, you'll take a week off. Doesn't matter if it's Week 6. It doesn't matter if it's Week 14 and all the places in between. You're going to take that bye week, all right? That's just the natural thing of it is. It's That's going to be much needed week 14. Coming into the fantasy football playoffs, we got Los Angeles Rams on ESPN/ABC, another night game. So that's 3 out of 4 games, all night games in that 4-week span, except for one. 3 out of 4 of them are night games. Los Angeles Rams coming off the bye week. We own the Rams. We should have been Rams versus Packers in the NFC Championship last year. Packers went in, crushing Matthew Stafford's spirits again, but didn't happen that way. 7:15 night game, they're going to crush the Rams. We just don't have trouble with the Rams. That's just how it is. Sunday, December 25th, Christmas game at Miami, 1 o'clock. Whew, what a battle. Christmas Day, we get to freaking watch the Green Bay Packers. I don't even want a gift. That's the greatest gift at all. I get to watch the Green Bay Packers. Come on, man. Christmas Day at Miami, 1 o'clock, start time, crushing them, bro. Thank God we got Miami in December, not in the September, because that's a brutal place to play in the last kind of weeks of summer, that is. At Miami, going to be a tough game. We're going to crush them. Minnesota Vikings coming into town on, get this, we get a Christmas game, we get a New Year's game. How about that? 3:25, Minnesota, basically the first and last games of the season, coming in with this double kind of double division down to end the season. Both games at home. We do get 3 of our last 4 games at home in December. Man, you gotta love that. You gotta love. I don't know that home field advantage is as much of a thing as it used to be, but I do know, just like I said in the playoffs against the 49ers, all they had to do is get that 14 points. If you go 14-0 in the cold, the team's done. The team ain't going to come back. They're not used to that cold. Their spirits are low. They're going to start thinking about the cold. So we got to get Minnesota. We got to get Detroit at home. Those are tough games, but we're going to win them. We're going to win them, people. And that means it looks like we're going to be going 17-0. Yes, sir. 17-0. And I love it, man. I love it. 17-0, book it. Packers not losing a game. All right, once we get to the betting, I'll break it down a little bit more serious. But I do believe the Packers can win every game that you play. You have to have that confidence coming in. I had that confidence coming in. I feel that way about my betting. I feel that way about my fantasy. I'm the greatest. And I'm going to take down all of you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you checking in, Pack Attack. We are here every Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern, breaking down film, looking next week, talking bets, talking fantasy. Come join me, man. Come join me. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really do love you guys being here. Tune in with me. Tell your Packers fans. Tell any Packer fan you got, hey, let's go do this. Let's go have some fun. All right. Until next week, you guys take care of yourself. I'll be back here. Come join me. Have a great week, everybody.